and welcome to the Plenty of Positivity podcast. I am your host, Courtney Beck, and today we have a very special guest, Dr. Gina Anderson. Dr. Anderson is a CEO and co-founder of Luma Brighter Learning. She is also an international award-winning thought leader, best-selling author, podcast host, and TEDx and keynote speaker. It is my absolute pleasure and honor to welcome Dr. Gina Anderson.
Oh, well, thank you, Courtney, for having me today. There's so much goodness for your podcast and what you're doing for the world. So thank you for being here and being such a great sunshine for everyone to hear, because we need it, don't we? We need it so much.
Well, Dr. Anderson, thank you so much for those kind words. I'm certainly trying to do my very best to bring that positivity, to build community. But
Yes.
I certainly want to turn over to you. I am so excited to have you on this podcast, Dr. Anderson. I have been waiting for this moment, and you certainly have achieved so much success in different aspects of your life. Sport, we're going to be talking about today, lessons that sport has taught us as we transition into our professional career, all the accolades that you have certainly picked up with Luma Brighter Learning. I would love to learn all about your journey. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So if you could please start with an introduction and a background of yourself.
Yeah, certainly. Well, thank you so much for that great introduction. I think you've covered a lot. I started my career really as a special education teacher, and that interest for me really stemmed from my curiosity and how people learned. At a very, very young age, I was described as my sixth grade teacher. Teachers have such an impact in our lives, as someone who could really feel the emotions of other people. And I honestly always had this interest and energy to learn why certain individuals really couldn't do things the same way. And it was a very young age I really became interested. And so this curiosity for me, and when I was able to in high school really help a classroom to assist learners who couldn't like tie their shoe or couldn't read or couldn't write their name, and help them overcome those hurdles, is something that I've always been interested in. The thing is, through my learning and through the journey of studying our brain and how we learn, I've come to know, and I knew this at a very young age, that you can have nothing. You can have not a lot of resources. You may have grown up not in the most ideal situation, but inside each of us, we have the power to move forward. And so that really kind of, anchors who I am as a person and where the journey started. And honestly, we all have hurdles in our lives and things that happen in our lives, but it's one of the reasons I wrote my book, Thrive, because inside each of us, we have the opportunity to make a difference. And so that tells you a little bit about myself. And through all, darkness, adversity, hurdles, all the things, there's moments inside of each of us that we can overcome and make something better for ourselves.
Dr. Anderson, thank you so much for that introduction. And, to your point, we are certainly going to dive into education. You also received your doctorate, but
Mhm.
I have to say, you are one of the most humble people that I have ever met. And
Aw.
I say this because you didn't even mention this in your introduction, but sport played such a profound impact on your life.
Mm.
You were an academic All-American Division I tennis athlete
Mhm.
and coach. So could we just walk it back to
Mm.
that journey? And what were maybe some lessons that you learned in sport that you were
Mm.
able to take with you as you move forward into your professional career?
Yeah. So when, I played sports, at a very young age, a lot of it, we didn't have much. So I grew up in a unwealthy family. I lived with my mom and my grandpa and my brother. And we really just made do with what we had. And we had wooden tennis rackets, which kind of tells you how old I was. But I literally started like just with a wall and a tennis ball that I found in a playground. And I just started hitting a tennis ball. And I started playing with some family friends and my brother. We just started playing, and I didn't have tennis lessons. My strokes were not very attractive. I'm not like your typical tennis player, but I had the desire to win. This is what I call a mind of a champion. At a very young age, it's like I would make myself feel better by going outside and hitting the tennis ball off the wall. And it was just one more time, do it 3 times, do it 4 times. And that persistence and practice, I think, really built. And I wrote an article about how do you really build a mind of a champion. And it's this willpower and grit that actually your brain changes structure, it changes size, it changes chemicals from doing these hard things in your life time and time and time again. So this isn't something that happens overnight. And so for me, sports, it gave me an opportunity for community, which is something that you really aspire and talk about and are really passionate about, community and connection, because it's not only connection with other people, but connection and being proud of yourself, when in fact maybe in your life there aren't very much accolades or people that give you praise, but understanding what you're doing kind of can make a difference. When I played high school sports, people kept saying, well, you're not good enough to play in college. Like, you're just not, you didn't take tennis lessons, you're not that good. And so all the negative energy could have held me back. And I could have said, well, I'm not going to try. So I actually pitched myself and said, I went to universities and said, just let me try out. I just want to try. If I don't make it, I don't make it. And I walked on to the team at University of Dayton, go Flyers. And I won a lot because for me, it wasn't about my strokes. And a lot of the other athletes, they had been pressured by external influences. It wasn't necessarily what they wanted, it's what their parents wanted. And we know this with research. A lot of times that pressure can drive us into places that we don't necessarily want to be, and we're not happy. But for me, it was about playing, it was about competing, it was about community, the team, and all of those aspects that I think have really helped with ongoing community. So sports have really taught me a lot for sure.
I just love everything about what you have said. I mean, whether it was the resilience that sport taught you, whether it was remaining focused on one's goal, that regardless of what others were saying, you were determined, you were focused. And I really do think that last part, which you were talking about with, perhaps aiming for that scholarship, freshman year, and how some people do obtain it, but there is pressure that comes with that, responsibility that comes with that. And, certainly being able to relate, like even as a walk on, but it was for the love of the team. I'm so grateful to even be there. And so
Right.
I just love that you mentioned that the community aspect, the teamwork that you were able to take on. And I would love to transition over into your education. You received a doctorate in instructional systems technology from Indiana University. And I'm always so curious, did you set out as you were pursuing your degrees that you knew you wanted to get that terminal degree?
So it wasn't, it's kind of like me walking onto the tennis court. It's this curiosity that drives me. It's this idea where people say you can't do something that I feel like inspires me to want to do for myself. And like I said, I've always had this interest when I was a special education teacher and earlier to really understand how we learn so I could help people. And so when I went back to get my master's degree, I was teaching teachers how to teach other people. I really wanted to learn more about our brain and really understand neuroscience and really how we can leverage technology. I didn't grow up with computers or phones or anything like that. So how can we leverage this new technology to enhance our learning? And so I minored in learning science. I really wanted to understand like how we learn so that I could create environments to help. And so that's really where, and it's still today. I mean, there's just so much going on. I just wrote a paper about the generational differences of brains and how technology is impacting us and how it's going to impact us remembering information and connection. I mean, connection is huge. And so for me, education, learning never stops. It wasn't about like I need a title. It's never been about a title. It's like just consuming knowledge to help others has been my pursuit of life. And I feel like that helped me get there. Because at the time, that program, was one of the top programs in the field at the time. And you don't have to go to university. You can learn anywhere, but for me, it was being around mentors and top performers that had this knowledge in the field to help me learn. So for me, it's never been about the title, right? It's about what the outcome is to help others, grow and learn, because that's the thing. Knowledge and learning is the seed of life. And so we have to continue to pursue it so we feel better and we can help others feel better. Absolutely.
I love everything about what you said. And, when you were speaking about that article that you had just wrote, it just kind of made me think through with AI coming full force right now. It seems like it is changing daily.
Yes.
And so I'm just so curious about what your thoughts are when you talk about different generations and their brains, how they are learning, how that intersects with AI right now.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we're really finding is how technology, we're so connected. And any time and moment, we can use our phones, we can use our computer, we can connect, but we're feeling the most disconnected that we've ever been in our lives. Like people are not feeling connected, which is so ironic because we can get information, like we can get it instantly. We can ask AI, we can have anything generated. It's not meant to replace the human mind and the human connection. Our eyes and our minds and the presence that we're losing is so rampant. And that's what I did my TEDx on, is because I'm so passionate about learner to self connection and learner to learner connection, because those are the most powerful seeds that are going to help us grow and live the best and happiest life. But unfortunately, a lot of people are using technology to replace presence. And that's not the purpose. It's always been, it's like when the internet came out, it's like, oh my gosh, the internet, like it's the worst thing. It's not bad. It's how we use it to leverage what we want to accomplish. It's not to replace connection and presence. So I think we just have to be aware. Like I said, my phone told me I spent 8 hours on it when I talked about my TEDx. Last week, it said 7 hours. The thing is, we're addicted to the technology and it's real, but we have to be like aware of what is happening with that, but how we can then be present and connected despite having these hurdles in our lives. And so I think it's knowledge is power for sure.
Absolutely. And when I think about younger generations, so Gen Z and Gen Alpha coming up, what is maybe some advice or tips, whether it be literally the individual or their parents, as to how they could leverage technology to where you're right? I mean, they're growing up with it. We never had it to this
Mm.
capacity. So, what is maybe some advice you could offer those younger generations to ensure that they are instilled with those critical thinking skills before adapting and using AI?
Yeah. So, one of the things that's happening, and I hear this a lot when I'm out speaking to people, and I even experience this in my own personal experiences, kids taking technology and being addicted to it and spending more time in their bedrooms alone than with other people. And it's a real problem. And it's happening because if you think about it, our minds over 20, 26, 28 are developed and we're able to make those decisions. But the younger generations that are sitting on their phones in their bedrooms, they don't. And so it's about, managing that and trying to set boundaries and not removing that, but giving them opportunities to be connected. Because the most powerful synergy for information processing is learner to learner to learner connection. So think of pods, like think of three people being connected and talking about a topic, or looking at a topic and discussing it in person or through eye to eye contact. It's so powerful when you look at those synapses and that energy that's exchanged that's being removed. Like we think about growing up, we didn't have it. So it was easy. We could just go outside and ride our bikes and be with our friends and play in the, play outside. But you don't see that. Like I live in a neighborhood and I don't see any children. It's like, where are they? Where are they? They're all in their rooms. They're, playing on their technology. And it's not the parents' fault. It's not. And they have to give themselves grace, but it's the knowledge that you know that you have to spend time, you have to encourage them at a very young age because those habits are going to be developed, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can't change them when they're in high school. This has to be done early, early on. So putting a iPad in front of them is changing their brain structure, their white, their gray matter, the size of their brains. It's happening. It's proven. There's so much research on it. So it's just about managing that as best as you can. Because I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. I mean, I have family experience with it. I mean, it's not. And sometimes you need external help to help you because it's addiction. It's like being addicted to drugs and alcohol. It's the same chemicals in our brain. It's the exact same, and we don't think it, but that is what's happening. And it's scary and it's true. And we just have to support each other and building real connections because that's why people aren't feeling good.
That's such a good point that you bring up, the habits and the connection, because I've spoken with parents with regard to it really does have to be that collective effort when it comes to allowing technology. I mean, you think about just say like a group of girls where maybe three do have a smartphone, maybe one does not, and how she may feel left out. And so it's such an interesting dynamic that we're facing today. And when you speak about the habits, you're right. Developing strong habits because it's here to stay. The genie's been let out of the bottle, so to speak.
Right.
So,
Right.
we have to learn how to adapt, utilizing or instilling those soft skills.
Right.
Emotional intelligence, I think, so critical today.
Mhm.
But Dr. Anderson, I am really, really excited to get to this next point. Certainly a transition over to the application of what you started, Luma Brighter Learning.
Mm.
3 times Inc. 5,000 award-winning company, 2023, 2024, and 2025, and it's dedicated to enriching lives globally through innovative learning that inspires and
Mm.
sticks. So how did Luma Brighter Learning come about, Dr. Anderson?
Oh my gosh. Well, this was a debate between my husband and I. He's an engineer, and typically, how engineers learn isn't how adults learn. A lot of engineers. And so we would debate this, and it's really a preference for learning. That doesn't mean if you have a preference to learn a certain way, it doesn't mean that you're processing the information and retaining it. So we would debate, and I really felt like there was an opportunity, since he's a technical person, to create a technology to really bring to life and solve problems in education. So the first company that we did, that we transitioned into Luma, really was about bringing problems. So there are not a lot of female engineers or scientists. And so my thing is, because women tend to want to connect and have community and process information perhaps in their preferences in a different way. And so I wanted to create a safe environment for women scientists to connect and solve real world problems for businesses, and to prove that women have a place in the sciences. And so that's kind of where it started. And we would go out and we would pitch to businesses, can we create an actual environment of and this is before, well, it was during the time of like Second Life. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but virtual reality environments. So we use the concept to recreate different businesses' environments to solve problems. And we started selling it, and we decided we wanted to get grants to fund our project, and we kept losing, Courtney. We lost a grant one year. We lost it. We had like all sorts of partners. We kept losing and losing and losing. And so we're kind of like, how are we going to grow a business if we keep losing grants? And so, just like playing tennis, and getting up and doing it over and over and over, we created a kind of spin-off of a company, which is Luma Brighter Learning, where we do e-nuggets, where we were going to incorporate and do individualized learning for all. Because if think about it, the most education is delivered in one way. Everybody gets the same information in the same way, in the same format, but we know that learners all have different preferences for learning. And if you're neurodivergent, as we know, there are different ways that you need to connect with information to be able to retain it. So we just started going out and selling Luma eNugget Learning. We would pitch it to people and we show them the technology where we can individualize learning. It's not just a content delivery platform, it's a connected platform. So bringing learners together, learners to self, bringing psychology with it, motivational theory with it, but also letting people make content authentic. So let me give you an example. So we work primarily in the transportation space. So you consider like semi trucks. We all know about semi trucks. And you tell them not to speed. Well, everyone knows not to speed. That's not information processing. So it's about putting them in the environment to connect them to psychology and motivational theory to change their behavior, to connect them with the tools and resources to make them feel and understood, and to connect them with resources to change their life. And so we started selling Luma. We started Luma in 2008. We transitioned into transportation in 2014, and it's been 11 years. So this like three time is like, it's more than, it's like, we've been doing this a long time. So like, if you're trying to start a company, this isn't something, again, it's like, think about hitting the tennis ball off the wall. This isn't something that you just, now some people may think they get lucky. This is ongoing. It's dedication, it's grit, it's trial and error, it's pivoting. There's so much to it. You don't just grow a company, and it's always evolving. And so the thing that you need is you need to solve a problem. And the problem that's happening right now in transportation is that you're training everybody the same way and you're disseminating just content. And we know that's not how people learn. And we're helping solve that problem because we want to connect with drivers and learners and warehouse workers. And maybe individuals don't learn in the traditional learning environment in a way that can change their life. And that's real. I mean, this is real. Like, think of all the drivers, think of everything we get on the road is from truck drivers and transportation. And there's an industry need. So if you're going to start a business, you have to go where the need is, and solve that problem and truly solve it. I mean, I've spent my whole life studying how we learn. Like, so for me, it's like, I love it. People are like, Gina, what are you going to do? You have this question. What are you going to do next? It's like, how the thing is, it's kind of like, how can we use science and learning to change lives? And, right now, one of the things is that I really am passionate about that I want to put into our technology is I just wrote about motivational interviewing. Like, everyone's talking about coaching. Look on LinkedIn, like how many coaches are there? There's like a billion coaches. Everybody's coaching, but do people really know how to coach? And now we're talking about individuals that aren't in coaching, that don't have education in coaching. Like, how are they coaching? And so for me to have, you talk about AI, like agents, read the content that I've written, all the coaching that's being done in the system to be able to give ideas for coaching is what I want to do next, because that's a problem that we need to solve. You can go tell anyone to coach anybody, but how do you coach someone? How do you speak to them is so critical.
That is so interesting. And what you were talking about, I love that you mention it, that it truly is, it's a journey. It's a journey of growth, of discovery, that success does not happen overnight. You
Yes.
know, I just think that's beautiful that you authentically at least share that story, because you're right. I mean, you could see the titles, the awards, but what truly goes into that, and your passion, as you mentioned before. I mean, your passion in tennis, being able to translate your passion for now learning and your professional career to help lives, to help specifically in the trucking industry. And my question, as you were speaking, within, obviously this is an educational platform, but
Mhm.
is there anything that pertains? I know you mentioned STEM as well, but even within university
Mhm.
systems as well, that would be able to pull on to this to educate students in the capacity?
Yeah. So we started Luma in education and actually in higher education. But the hurdle or the challenge in education, and especially higher education, is that they have a particular view of what learning should be. Most universities have their own learning faculty, they have their own environment, they have their own technology. And so to think outside the box for traditional versus this is like non traditional is kind of a leap for them. I mean, there are innovative. I'm not saying there are a lot of innovative universities do innovative work, but our business really solve populations that have non-traditional university type of learners that maybe didn't go to the university environment. So again, it's my special education background coming like to full life. It's like really helping people who may not learn in the traditional way. So while universities could adapt and be a Luma client, we still have some universities that use Luma. Traditionally, it's more non university and learning environments like workforce development, innovative workforce development environments that would use us. But I do like how you say that you should never give up. This isn't like something that's like we tried higher ed. So it's not like we weren't there. We tried it and we realized that there was a broader, bigger need outside of the traditional university space that we could serve. So where can you serve? Where's the problem? Where's the pain point? And seeing how your passion and that kind of fit together. Hmm.
I love that because you're right. I mean, being able to digest whatever it is, like the environment, if things are not working, being able to pivot, especially in
Hmm.
business, keeping an open mind. And I love that you're innovative, that you're all about problem solving, that you look at
Hmm.
something, you research it, but you develop programs, initiatives, and obviously in this case, obviously a business in this capacity. But I think that's absolutely incredible because being able to take that risk.
Mm.
I teach an entrepreneurship class and we talk
I
about
love
risk.
that.
It's so exciting, Dr. Anderson. I just really do. I get like just so excited about it because it really is like, how did you, speaking about risk taking, how did you develop maybe that self-confidence to overcome the fear of failure
I
to
was
move
just gonna
forward?
say, I mean, the thing is you have to face failure in the eyes. You have to have lost everything and be okay with that. Because fear is what holds you back. Fear is what holds entrepreneurs, one of the things that holds entrepreneurs back. But for me, my journey, I didn't have anything. Like I mean, I literally didn't have like things. I didn't have a traditional family. I mean, it's like I didn't have the traditional trajectory. So for me, I didn't have anything to lose. And you think about it, I've had this experience time and time and time and time again. The thing is like with sports, I didn't know. It's like I mean, I went and I tried out for a university division 1 team. I mean, I had the will to win. It's like I wasn't going to lose. There was no other option. I was going to join this team. It's the belief that you have and being okay if it doesn't work out, because at the end of the day, you do lose. It's not all wins. There's a ton of disappointment. There's a ton of darkness. When you've lost, and you've experienced loss through, losing my mom, losing the idea of parenthood. Like there's so many things that, you experience in your own life and you come out on the other side and it's okay. And you know that you have love in yourself and you can leverage that, you can keep going forward. So I think a lot of times when I talked, and you probably have a lot of experience because you're teaching a class, but that's what it is. It's like, well, what if it doesn't work out? I'll pivot in a minute if I need to. My predictive index is I'm a maverick, so I always tell my team, the thing is, we're always good to make change, because change helps you grow forward. So absolutely.
Love everything that you said. You said it in such a beautiful way that, I always think about it too. You at least tried something, that you could
Mm.
never live with that sense of regret as look back. I always talk about like the rocking chair image. I don't know why it comes to me.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's
sitting
great.
in a rocking chair, God willing, 80 years old, but reflecting back on your life
Yeah.
and you never want to have that moment where you're like, man, that was inside of my heart, but I never went for it. Or I wish
Mm,
I would have done XYZ, that you
mhm,
did try it. Maybe it works out for good. And maybe on the flip side of the coin, you learn
mhm,
something from it. You meet different people, you learn different lessons that you were meant to learn. So always looking at it just in a positive light, because really,
mm,
I think of it kind of as a win-win, that quote, even
mm.
dependent upon, your thought process of failure, but even if you quote fail, you learn
Right.
something from it, you
And you
know?
tried. You can't
Yes.
fail unless you tried it. It's like this TEDx journey I was on. I mean, it's going to come out in 2 to 3 weeks, and you may think, oh, there's Gina accomplishing. You know how long it's been that I've been trying to get and do a TEDx? And it's like, and the thing for me, it's not about doing a TEDx, it's about the message. I want to share how we all have the power inside of each of us to thrive, right? And so for me, it's like I have this burning desire to share, so all the trying and getting no, 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 no for 2 years until someone says yes. And the thing is that may have never come, but the thing is I wasn't giving up. I'm going to keep trying. It's like I'm going to keep doing this, and like just persistence, because if you're not afraid of the no, that's okay. I mean, the first time, I'll be honest, I was devastated. The first no I got, I couldn't believe, like, why not? Why didn't they pick me? I mean, all those are shadow statements, all those things. It wasn't about me. It's not about me. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right venue. It wasn't the right moment. My mom was dying. I mean, there was so much going on in my life. You know what I mean? And it's like you just have to reflect on, it's not a no forever. It's just a no for now, and just like kind of leveraging that. So I would say if anyone's listening and you really want something, keep going for it, because if you're persistent, something will pay off. I guarantee it.
I just love this message. And Dr. Anderson, you took my next question, because that was transitioning over into your first TEDx talk, which was titled How Micro Learning and Connections Transform Us, the Power of Being Present. Please take it away. What was
Yes.
this journey like?
Oh, well, the journey was really intense to do. So first you have to make the cut. In the one that I was accepted, I think there were 450 some applicants. So there's a lot, and they picked 12 people. So think about that. You have no idea how many people are applying. But for me, it's really about this idea of being present. You talk about early generations, or any generation. You can be in a room full of people. In your mind, think about where your mind, it's a million miles away. You're not present. But when you have presence, in my talk, I share how a moment of presence after being completely in darkness can change your life. It can change your life, and it can change other people's lives. No matter what you're going through, in that moment of presence is love. And that love can change anyone's life. The thing for me about the talk was there was so much about it. So first of all, I forgot all my clothes. This is a true story. So you think about what you're going to wear for the TEDx, and there's so much talk. What are you going to wear? I had my dresses picked out. I got 45 minutes from Raleigh, and I realized that my dresses were still hanging in the closet. So the thing is, so there's always something. And so the morning of the event, we had a rehearsal. I was going to have to wear my jammies, Courtney. I would have been fine wearing my jammies. So the thing is, I had 2 hours to find something to wear. It wasn't about what I wore. It's not about it. It's not, wasn't my color. Well, I don't wear suits. It's not typically what I wear. It's okay. I showed up. I got on stage. This is the second part. I was the last speaker in the last section of the talk, and my microphone was going out. So it kept going out. And so they pulled me off stage. Well, the thing about it is when I started my talk, everyone laughed, and it wasn't supposed to be funny. So all I kept thinking about is, are they going to laugh again? Are people going to laugh at my talk? Because it wasn't funny. It wasn't supposed to be funny. And so the thing was so beautiful because I got pulled off stage. I was the only speaker to have that happen to. And again, I have had so much adversity and so many things happen in my life. It's just one more thing. I wasn't going to let it stop me. I got back on, and everyone was clapping for me. Everyone was like, there was so much goodness and energy in the room that when I did my talk, it was like, you wouldn't have known. So when people watch it, they're going to know like Gina forgot her clothes. She was pulled off stage. But at the end of the day, my message is what mattered. I know that that was meant to be. And my journey of being connected was is incredible, and I can't wait to share it. It's going to come out in 2 to 3 weeks, and I hope that it can make a difference in at least one person's life that's struggling, because that is why I spent 2 years trying to do it. So
I mean, Dr. Anderson, first off, a huge congratulations on that accomplishment. That is when you get to speaking, that is the ultimate, the TEDx talk. And so, I'm just you're so passionate about connection and being present. I talk about being present all the time. Like,
oh my
how do
gosh.
you how do you think that really does kind of correlate with technology today? Like, if only we were present with one another with eye contact, how do you think that would maybe make a difference?
It makes That's what my talk is on. I mean, I spent 8 hours on my phone, the week before the TEDx. That's more time than I spent looking into my husband's eyes. Think about that. 8 hours, and it makes a difference because when you take the moment to be connected with someone, you feel it. You feel it. It's the chemicals, it's the dopamine, it's all of that. You feel it. And it actually, if you keep doing that, that's why people practice gratitude. It's like we know individuals do it daily. It's waking up in the morning and seeing, like, presenting yourself as today's going to be a good day. It's being present not only with other people, but giving the gift of presence to yourself. Because I think a lot of times we're not present even with ourselves to understand how we are feeling. And so, learner to self was really what my talk was about. It's being connected with the love inside of each of us. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to share it with the world.
I mean, that's like I said, I mean, it really is. It's an unbelievable accomplishment alongside everything else that you've accomplished in sport, starting your business, now reaching the ultimate in speaking. I just think that's incredible. And your message, without a doubt, it's so relevant today. My gosh, I
Mhm.
mean, just like I said, with technology on the rise, people can relate to it at all ages, all different generations. So I am so excited to tune into that, Dr. Anderson, when it comes
Thank
out.
you. Thank you.
I really am. I'm thrilled for you. That's just it really is. It's an incredible accomplishment, and being passionate about the message that you're sharing. I think there's nothing more powerful than that. So I
Yes.
love that. And as we talk about just all of this success in your professional career, but my question is with people who are so incredibly successful in their professional career, how do you find that work life, I like to say even harmony, if you will?
Gosh, yeah.
What's your
It's
trick?
Yeah, so for me, honestly, it's about being present in my own mind, and really going out and being present in the world. And when you're present, even if it means going to the grocery store and like telling the person that's there, I'm so glad that you were here today. Because that moment can expand. That could feel like 20 minutes. And literally, it was just a moment. So every moment matters when you're so intensely involved in a business, in business decisions, in conversations. Last night at 9 o'clock, I got someone text me and they said, Gina, can you talk for a minute? And it's like, I'm still working. It's like 9 o'clock. It's like, but in that moment, it's like, I want to connect with that person and be present. So you need to be present with yourself. So for me, I run a lot. Exercise is so important to disconnect. I can feel really terrible and I can go out and run, and I do hard things. Like I'll run a bridge, for example. It might
Wow.
seem it might seem crazy, but like Friday I was feeling really worn out and I went and ran the bridge. I felt incredibly inspired. It's like it's that feeling of chemicals that get released inside of your cells that you need to connect with, and you need to be very, very focused on it. If you're feeling run down, you need sleep. I go to bed sometimes, and I talk about this in my book. If I don't go to bed by 9 o'clock at night, and last night I know, I feel it, right? You feel it the next day. It's like, oh my gosh, I should have went to bed at, but what were you doing? You were looking at your phone. Put your phone in the other room. Like go to bed, you know? So eating right is so important, right? It's all these things we know that we should do and we just don't do. And so everything like that you can control is critical to disconnect the work life balance, because if you're not doing those things, then you're going to just be in your head in the work. So you got to get out of that. And so there are definitely mindfulness practices that I do that I'm very in tune to help me feel better. And I can leverage that love whenever I need it. Because honestly, you need it a lot when you're like running a company or doing hard things. And it's just so important to be present. And I feel it from you too. Like, honestly, like, you know, that you can talk about it because you can feel it, right? You feel the energy, and it's so important
Dr. Anderson, I talk about energy all the time.
all the time.
There's something, it's so real. I mean, whether it's you walking into a room, quote,
Yes.
feeling the vibe of the room, there's something to be said about that. But when you talk about recharging your energy, your battery, so to speak, but
Yeah.
I love how you mention getting exercise, going to bed early, because your body really does tell you. I mean, for me, it's like cut off sometimes for me. It's like, Court, no, we are not running today. No, we are going to bed at 9.
Oh
There's
my,
no
that's
time,
yes.
right? You
Yes.
know, but I just love how you mentioned that, is like, blocking time off, prioritizing what needs to be done in that moment, in that day, but taking time for yourself,
Mm.
recharging with your family. That's where I get energy. Like at the end of the day, it's just like, you're right, taking a step back from the computer, even though you've been
Yes.
glued to it.
Exactly. Separating it is important too. So I have to mention this, like I we don't have an office anymore. We got rid of our office in 2018. Working out of the house, you have to have separation. There's separate rooms for working. Don't work in your kitchen, or don't work, in your living room. Like work somewhere else so you can have that separation, because it is a mental shift. If you're leaving the room that you work in, you're leaving it, but if you bring it with you, it's coming with you. So you gotta leave it. Like leave it in the other room. Like, so if you're working in your kitchen and you're listening, try to find a different space, because you eat in your kitchen, you do everything. You commune in your kitchen and then you work in your kitchen. It's like, you just gotta find your space.
I think that's such a good point. My husband would love to hear what you just said, Dr. Anderson, because I'm that person that literally goes.
You had your bedroom. Oh my gosh, you gotta get out of here. Did you say bedroom? You work in your bedroom?
It's like, what I do is I'll be like walking around the house, but I have like headphones and I'm listening to other podcasts or like
Uh-huh.
seeking other information. And he's like, okay, turn it off. Like you at least left the computer room, like our office, but like it's still following you around.
Exactly. You got to leave it. You got to cut it off. Cut it off. Cut off work. I tell my team, they kept booking during my lunch, and they know better. I'm like, don't book during people's lunch, because everybody needs to eat. And so I tell my team, like, book your lunch, book your breaks, book it, because otherwise people are takers. They'll take your time. Don't take my lunch because I need to eat, and they all know that. And so I do. I take at least 40 minutes to eat, and I
That
go out, either go outside on my porch or take a break, because your brain needs it. You may not think it, but your brain does need it.
100%. Dr. Anderson, whether I'm hungry, I'm tired, or I'm hot, you do not want to be around
Yes,
me.
no, exactly. It's so important. Well, at least we know we're in tune with ourselves. And so you got to pay attention to those signals.
That's so, so much truth you're speaking. So I would love to transition. This is another exciting topic.
Yeah.
You relatively recently
Yeah.
started a podcast called I Love Learning Podcast. Dr.
Yeah.
Anderson, tell us all about it. Why did you start it?
Okay, I'll tell you about my podcast. So I started it because, and this is a true story, I was going out speaking to different captive groups. And there was a day that I asked this group, how many of you feel like a five? And this is why I wrote my book too. And guess how many people raised their hand? Five, meaning you feel really good. How many people do you think out of 340 people said they felt good?
Oh gosh. Probably, I don't know, 40%, 50?
Three people. It was like two or three people, right? One person kind of, two people, and one person kind of. And I said, you guys didn't hear me. Like, how many of you feel really good? And this was in 2023. This was in 2023. So we also did the same time, did a research study at Luma. We have over 600,000 drivers, or not drivers, but learners in our system. And we asked them, what do you want to learn about? And what do you think they said? What do you think the people want to learn about?
Probably how to feel happy or something after
Yeah,
COVID.
similar. So in 2023, the top three topics were gratitude. This is why I got connected with Kevin. Depression, caring for elderly parents, financial wellness, all social emotional topics. And so I said, I want to start a podcast because learning is the seed of life. Without connection, learning dies. And when learning dies, we truly stop living. And I wanted people to get reignited with their passion. Like, I'm so passionate about it. It's like, I want people to have the same passion about something, you know? And part of it is like connecting with people. It's like, well, I've had this horrible thing happen to me. It's like, but the thing is, you can build a mind of a champion. That's something that's in all of our controls. You just have to have the choice and the willingness to go there. And so this idea of I Love Learning came about because I wanted to give people resources to change their life. And so I want people to come on my show that maybe have overcome a hurdle, maybe had a roadblock. I mean, shoot, I had someone who is paraplegic come on and did a marathon. I mean, come on. It's kind of like, let's go, you know? It's like, let's do hard things. And so I'm in my third season. I actually started a different podcast about leadership, and I was thinking I was going to fade out this podcast, and I'm not going to, because just last week I had someone call me and thank me and tell me because they watched my podcast, they went to a counselor and they're going to get help. And I think, you know, the thing is like, that's why I'm doing it, because I want people to realize that creativity, learning inspires us to want to move forward, and being connected is key. And so My Love Learning connects people to all sorts of different types of people to show that despite anything that's happening in your life, no matter what you don't have in your life, there's so much that you do. And I just love connecting people to all these goodness and all this goodness of people. And that's what it's about. I love it. There's so many amazing, amazing people who've done hard things, you know, and I love meeting them because, gosh, they inspire me. You know, in fact, this past weekend, I bought a sewing machine because someone said, you should learn to sew. It's like, you know, maybe I should learn to sew. So I taught myself. I have a picture here. Let me see. I can show you. I'm making a cornhole set. And so here's the thing. I never thought I would sew. I don't even know, like, oh, here. So look, I made this little cornhole bag and I taught myself how to sew. Now it took me all day, and I didn't have any other responsibilities, but still, you know, learn hard things. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I have to make 4 more. I don't know. Maybe I'll make something else, but someone inspired me from my podcast to do that. There, you know, why not?
Is absolutely incredible. I mean, to your point, like one thing I love about what you were just talking about is how we talk about the journey, the challenges that we have to overcome, the resilience that it really does take, that from the outside it could look just like absolutely perfect, but to really understand, like a lot of people, I remember even a couple of times it's been said to me, but like, is it all about positivity? And I'm like, no, like it's that's the end result, if you will, like the inspiration that sparks from hearing somebody's challenges, the
Mm,
storytelling you were mentioning, you know, sharing stories that truly can inspire. I mean, like
right.
you said, I mean, look at this is a real life situation. You're now learning how to sew because somebody inspired you
Right.
on your own
Exactly.
podcast.
Right. Exactly. It's like, it's just goodness. It's like so many people have had so many things you wouldn't even imagine, things that people have gone through. And it's like, here, this person seems like they've done all these things, but they had to go through things to get there. And I think that's the key. This isn't, it comes with hard work and persistence, and you have to have the choice inside to want that for yourself. And so, you know, I watched my mom with dementia not want that. She didn't want it, you know, and it's one of those horrifying things you have to watch someone go through to not want that. And you can't change it because they have to want it. you can provide resources and information, but they have to want it too. And I think that's the thing. It's trying to inspire people to want to try new things, So
I love everything about that. And there really is. There's so many different nuggets, if you will, when people do share stories, the power of
mm,
storytelling that could inspire, even if it's in a different context. There's been so many times when I hear, especially in athletics and sports,
yeah,
retiring from a sport, but then going into these like endurance
yeah.
sports. It's unbelievable to me, Dr. Anderson. Have you ever ran? You said you're a runner. Like, what's the highest you've ever gone to? Have you done marathons? What's the deal?
Yeah, well, I will say this. I have done them. I have done Spartans, but I only do them because people challenge me. Like Keith Johnson challenged me to do ultra marathon. It's a mini ultra. He's was a client, so if he's listening today, he says Gina's making me. I didn't make him do. I'm doing it because it's about building connection, right? So I'm really engaged to think about how I can do things with other people to inspire them. So yeah, I have done them. I don't enjoy running. If you read my book, I don't enjoy it, but yeah, I definitely do that.
I'm trying to do more of like a half marathon, if you will. But it's interesting because even as I train for it, you think about to yourself, you're like, okay, you hit certain points. And I kind of get bored. And I'm like, how could you do something? Or how could you think about something that doesn't make it less bored? Like for me, it's like about after an hour and 10 minutes, I'm high energy. And so I'm thinking, okay, what's next? Like, oh, I got to go do this when I get home. I got to do XYZ for like, your career. But like, how do you get over that when you're running that long of a distance, like a
Well,
marathon?
you train. You can't just go out. I mean, some people might could go out, but you can't just go out and do a marathon. Like I'm always training. I'm always running because for me, right, it's a release between the work life balance. I go out and exercise, so it's just part of the plan. I have a coach. I have a running coach. Like we need coaches. I have a coach. It's not like I'm doing this. He like inspires me to like you should go do this. And I give myself grace because I'm not the fastest person in the room, but you don't have to. It's like I can do this and you go do it and you're proud of what you can accomplish. Hmm.
Such a good point, Dr. Anderson. And as we round out, this has certainly been a very uplifting and positive podcast, no doubt. But let's end on a positive note, either a quote or a phrase that you could provide our community with
Oh, I
today.
love that. Well, let me leave you with this. It's something that I'm truly passionate about, but I really believe, and I can harness love at any time, but love really opens the heart. And connection really builds the bridge, but learning carries us across so that together we can grow wiser and we can grow stronger and we can grow more human and be connected. So I really loved being here today. I think what you're doing is so impactful because together we can ignite and spark, community that can change everything and all the negativity that we hear. So thank you so much for having me here today.
Dr. Anderson, thank you so much for those kind words. I'm so appreciative. Thank you for coming on to the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure. I may have to have you come on for part two, okay?
All right,
But no,
anytime. Thank
thank you so much,
you.
Dr. Anderson. Appreciate it.
Thank you.